Hello, everybody. Welcome to the careers webinars by the Sea Cadets. My name's Ben Swain. I'm the offshore commander, so head of offshore training down in Gosport and offshore Springs. I've been asked to host this seminar today. Hang on, there you go. So I just want to say thank you very much for all attending. We've got an excellent speaker with us today. We've got Michael Wilkinson from the RNLI. Michael is one of the mechanics, and he'll explain a little bit more about what he does in a moment. Michael's been 6 years in the RNLI and has been a Sea Cadet for many more of those. He joined cadets at the age of 10 and is still very much involved as an active volunteer. So some of you might have seen him about at national events and things like that. So a little bit of administration. We do require you to put your name and your unit in the web chat. So if you could add that in, that would be fantastic. That way we know that you're attending this seminar that we've got a record. And if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask Michael at the end of the webinar, then please put those into the Q&A section. So there's a button down in the bottom panel, Q&A, put your questions in there, and in chat, put who you are and which unit you're from. Okay, so I'm now going to pass the mantle, if you like, over to Michael. Michael, over to you.
Thank you very much. Do appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. Hope we're all having a nice night. A bit colder now, especially up here in Scotland, which is where I'm based. Being nice and warm inside is handy in an evening like tonight. So, obviously, we'll come along to learn a bit more about the lifeboats. And tonight we're basing it around careers. Hopefully you guys are already aware of some of the good work the lifeboats do. And I'm sort of going to speak about what we've done, why we do it, and also the way we work with technology and development and everything that I've seen in the last 6 years working for the lifeboats. So introduction. So myself, I'm Michael Wilkinson. Daytime, so the 9 till 5 is a full-time system technician, which basically means that within my region, which is Scotland, I go around the coast. Every single lifeboat station, lifeguard unit, I actually sort of help them with technical requirements, be it engine oil change or a radar modification. That's sort of what I do day to day. Anything with the RNLI flag, blue, orange, or bright yellow, I'll sort of look at and work on. Even in the weekends, I volunteer with the lifeboats as well. I volunteer as ILB crew. And I'm a sort of ALB mechanic, which is a required position and a privileged position in the organisation. So the organisation's been going for many years. It goes from the days of rowing boats when fishermen decided that if others got into danger, they would pick up the oars and take to sea. So when you learn how to row your Trinity 500s, guess what? That's what guys were doing in treacherous weather. Nowadays, we have much more modern, amazing developed boats which are designed to work in all weathers, and also our inshore lifeboats which are designed to work in some amazing conditions. So some information about the boats in use. So this is a 7 lifeboat. You've probably seen these around the coast. They've got all the mod cons on board. You've got marine radars, digital compasses, video cameras, so that from the safety of a seat, you can see what's going on around the boat, so you don't need to move around. And the autopilot VHF radios, which you should all possibly seen on your boats or on your offshore fleet as well. And they've got special sort of VHF direction finders, which means that if you have a VHF radio and you're calling for help, it'll direct you directly to where you're talking from. And chart plotters, which just makes life a lot easier. Trying to find where you're going or where you've been, especially when you're doing searches and things. This is a 7 lifeboat. This is the largest lifeboat in our fleet. A wee lifeboat geeky tip for you is the number on the front there, 17-09. It isn't a sum. It's actually the 17-meter 7 lifeboat, and that's the 9th one of the fleet. Wee moment there for you. So we've got our kit. Our kit is amazing, but we also have the people that make it work. Our people are our crew. So same again, back in the days, we have these cork life jackets, or buoyancy as you would really call them. They don't have the life element of it. But here you can see the sort of cork belts and jackets that keep you afloat, fluffy jumpers, and rather fetching headwear, I think, but it's not like that nowadays. We wear state-of-the-art, brilliant gear to go afloat in. So there's our ILB crew, and our ILB crew there wear head-to-toe dry suits, buoyancy preventing life jackets, but also if you pull an extra cord, they'll end up being full-on ocean-going life jackets with the big yellow cushion you'll be used to seeing. We've got gecko helmets in their hands there with the white helmets with RNLI on them, and they're designed to take headsets for listening to comms and also extra torches if they want to see in the night. And also the dry suits have built-in yellow wellies, which are iconic of the RNLI. ALB crew recently took a big, huge jump to Helly Hansen. Helly Hansen is one of the leading brands of offshore gear, and they've worked with the RNLI to help design their next generation gear while giving us a great deal. We used to be Musto. We still have some Musto gear on the coast because it's perfectly adequate. But Helly Hansen has designed this system just for the lifeboat, which is now being pushed out to the general public. So it's technical layering, keeps us warm and dry. This is beautiful. It's honestly the best thing. I've never been too hot or never too cold, and that's where we're wearing all the gear. We've got tailored fit for male and females. The female and the male gear is slightly different, and you do notice it. But yeah, it's tailored fit for everyone. Waterproof and breathable, so it stops the water getting in and lets the sweat out, which is fantastic. Great airfree movement, especially when you're hauling in tow lines or throwing out anchors and things like that. You always have all the movement you require. And it's light, really light for wearing. Sometimes you feel like you can make it, well, sometimes we do have to run wearing it, but it is really much lighter than the old Mustos. So what can the RNLI do and what can you do in the RNLI? So there's some choices. So obviously we're a volunteer organisation and we'll start with volunteering because that's where a lot of your experience earlier on comes in with the RNLI. So volunteering wise, you can be a fundraiser because everything the RNLI does is as a charity. So we're totally run by volunteer donations. So when you see a lifeboat tin, that is literally what keeps the lifeboats going. So fundraisers are a vital part of the RNLI, be it too young to join the crew and they do it before they join the crew, or they're not close enough to the lifeboat, you can become a fundraiser, which is fantastic. Crew, so the ALB, ILB crew, shore crew. So if you've got something that stops you going onto the boats, or it's sort of you get seasick or something like that, shore crew's an awesome part of the crew. So we'll talk about the roles a little bit more. So fundraisers, they're the ones that sell our sort of our shops, and they run the shops and do things like that. They do a lot of work with the community, getting out there, doing chats and water safety chats and stuff like that. Brilliant crew. ALB crew, so that's like myself. This is me here and all my gear and the lifeboat that I often go out on at Broughty Ferry in Dundee in Scotland. Which is a brilliant boat. That's a Trent class lifeboat. It looks like the 7, but slightly smaller, and it's only 14 meters. ILB crew. So this is another ILB. This is our D class lifeboat, and our D class lifeboat is the workhorse of the RNLI. It's got a 50 horsepower engine on the back, powered and driven by the helm, which is at the rear of the boat, and you've got 2 crew at the front that operate the charts and the radio. And this boat goes out all weathers, day or night. Brilliant little boat. One of my favourites. Shore crew. So this is the shore crew here. That's one of the biggest machines the RNLI have. That's called SLARS, which is the Shannon lifeboat launch and recovery system. And you'll see more about that in a minute. and actually I've got a wee video about that. So make sure your sound's on, and if you have any issues, please put it in the chat. But the next is a wee video. If you have anyone in your household that are lifeboat orientated, there is a pager noise, so please be aware of that. So that was the Shannon class lifeboat there getting launched off of a Slars rig. Really quite a cool bit of equipment. On top of that, we've got these things here. This picture here looks like a boat's flying, but it's actually a big blue crane there, which is called a davit. And that's used just to put the boat straight in the water, vertical off the quayside. But it's not the coolest way of launching a boat. The coolest way of launching a boat is definitely this way. There's no sound on this video. So if you're lucky enough to live nearby a slipway launch station, it is something fantastic to see. So good. Also in the lifeboats organization, the RNLI, we have lifeguards. If you've ever been to a lifeguarded beach, you'll see them. They're quite visual. They're always around. And this is just a wee video about what they can do. And it's another role that is actually probably good for the younger people to do, because it's long days on the beach and just chilling out, getting suntan, and luckily being able to save lives. And you'll see how they do it in this little video here. So the lifeguards are fantastic. They're seasonal. So that pretty much means that once you're of an age when you're at university and things, in the off time from university or at college or whatever you're doing, if you're taking a gap year, for example, you can fill it with by sort of working with the lifeguards. There's not many RNLI or lifeguarded beaches around the coast, but if you're lucky enough to be nearby one, not necessarily within a straightaway distance, but if for example, in Scotland, we've got people who work on the East Coast but live in Glasgow, which is the West Coast. As long as you're happy to commute, lifeguarded beaches would accept any suitable candidate. It's well paid in consideration that you're pretty much on the beach all day. But the lifeguarding is a good thing to do. You get really good training, amazing training, and yeah, if you see it and you're nearby it already, it's something you can continue from the younger ones beforehand. But lifeguarding is a valuable part of the lifeboats because it's saving lives at sea, which is what we're all about. So moving on to a part of the RNLI you might not know about, and that's staff. So the staff in the RNLI or coastal support, as we sometimes get called, it's to build support and assure crew to do what they do. So volunteering crew comes off the street, get on the boat and go to sea. But there's a lot before that. First of all is like getting a boat there, making sure it's suitable, making sure it's well maintained. That's sort of my job. On top of that is we actually build our own boats, would you believe? And on top of that, we make sure we train everyone and give them the best training they can possibly have. So this next sort of couple little videos I've got is to show you sort of way and how we build and maintain our boats. So this is our all-weather lifeboat centre. All-weather lifeboat centre is in Poole, Dorset, South Coast, and it's an amazing facility which actually is nestled right next door to where all the training for the lifeboats is done. So see a bit about the ALC, we call it the All-Weather Lifeboat Centre.
In 2015, All-Weather Lifeboat Building came home. A giant stride in a long journey of engineering excellence, the All-Weather Lifeboat Centre brings every life stage in-house. From lifeboat design, build and maintenance, to disposal, equipping our engineers for the next generation of saving lives at sea. There are several stages in the manufacture and commissioning of a Shannon-class all-weather lifeboat, including composite moulding, painting, fit-out, and commissioning and acceptance. And the entire process takes around 14 months. She comes to life during the painting process as a muted green composite is replaced with the unmistakable blue and orange of an RNLI lifeboat. Before being put on service, all lifeboats undergo 2 months of rigorous testing and sea trials to make sure that they're ready to take on even the wildest conditions. Finally, they can be presented for acceptance into the fleet.
So that's just a bit of information about our ALC and sort of how we now build all of our Shannon class lifeboats. The one on the far left, number 13 at the front. So the Shannon class lifeboat was sort of designed to be built by the RNLI. Every other lifeboat, so the 3 other lifeboats in this picture you can see, were all sort of designed by the lifeboats and then built by external companies. The biggest reason we went to in-house doing it all ourselves was it gives you sort of this parity between every single boat. Every single boat's exactly the same. We expect everything to be the same in the same place, and how we maintain and fix them makes it so much easier, especially for someone like myself who goes around 50 stations around Scotland, and hopefully we see the same boat at every station, but there is slight differences. This picture here actually I quite enjoy, because even though we're speaking about the ALC, this is actually a picture in Scotland when Girvan Lifeboat on the west coast, southwest coast of Scotland, got their Shannon, the 1323, and all their flank stations came up to see them. So flank means the neighbouring stations, and the 3 boats on the right are all sort of local boats who came up to see the boat get launched and accepted by the town of Girvan. So jobs in the ALC. So they spoke about some of the things they do, but jobs that you can get there. So you can do apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are amazing for the RNLI. If you're lucky enough to live on the south coast, you know there's a few boat builders down there, and they really look at the RNLI as one of the best apprenticeship providers for boat building. But not just boat building, but also electronics and other things like that involved in the boat world. But you can get an apprenticeship and get support all the way through that, building lifeboats, which is fantastic. You become a boat technician, which is sort of like you have lots of knowledge and ability to do various jobs on all the boats and building them. Supervisors, so once you do a bit more of experience, you can build up and do things like that. Electrical engineers, who are valuable, especially in the world that we're going into now, where everything has a cable attached to it. And composite engineer, so that's sort of doing what these guys are doing here and putting an extra layer onto the mould to build the actual boat that you see floating about your local harbours today. So ALC is All-Weather Lifeboat Centre, and on top of that we've got our ILC, which are our inshore lifeboat centre. So the things like the D-class and the 85 rib sort of looking lifeboats, the ones that are designed to go further in, have been built by the RNLI much longer than the ALC have been doing it. And this has been done in Cowes in the Isle of Wight. So we'll watch a quick video of that and we'll talk a bit more about that in a second. So the ILC there. So we spoke a lot about building our boats, but actually the ILC and the ALC do an amazing job at refitting boats. So all lifeboats look brand new, and they'll say they're about 20 years old, but actually they're only probably about 3 or 4 years out of a refit, which is when the lifeboat goes back and gets a bit of TLC and keeps it tip-top condition. The ILC do a really good job at that, and you'll see a boat go from looking like a boat stripped back to sort of bare sort of tubes and then built back up again to just keep them 100% and ready to go to sea. Background rules. So as well as building our boats, we need to sort of have background rules, and these are the fundamentals of the RNLI, and these rules here help us a lot on the coast. So it's support in pool. If I have an issue on the coast, we can phone pool and they'll be the centre and the epicenter and the knowledge base that we require to get things done and how to find the right information and getting things done. So engineering support is a major part. Life-saving delivery. So life-saving delivery has been coming into some heated conversations recently, but the big thing with life-saving delivery is that they look at the requirement and they help. So put extra training in place, put different assets in place, and actually get things like working better and giving the people on the sea that need our help a better chance by doing things right. Training, we have a good training department in pool. You've seen the ALC, just next door is our college, purpose built with training in mind, and it's a fantastic facility. All lifeboat crews from all over the UK and Ireland go to pool to do their basic training, including sea survival, and it's a fantastic facility. Asset management, so if we have assets is anything that helps save lives at sea. So that's be it a lifeboat, ILB, ALB, launch and recovery equipment. So things like our SLARs, our tractors, trailers, it's all managed from pool and then given out to regions like Scotland, North and East, Southern sort of regions who then work together and get the things working right. Stores, so we have a central stores in pool as well. So if I need a part, for example, an engine for an ILB, I can request it from pool, and if it's needed quicker, they can get it as soon as possible, next day delivery, up to central Scotland. Or if it's not needed in that much quicker time, they'll save money by sending it a different way, but still getting up in quick enough time that it's readily available. But that's all done centrally. And it saves the RNLI a lot of money. Instead of having a store in every sort of second town, they've got one central which works really well and works amazingly at getting it all out. So if you look at the organisation as a whole, on the left picture there is our station map. So Scotland looks a bit barren, I agree. But if you look at all the dots mean that that's a station. So in Scotland especially, we've sort of stretched out. We'll go all the way up to the Shetlands at the north and all the way out to Barrow Island on the Western Isles, which is a beautiful place to go, but it's still quite far. And in Scotland, if you look in the centre of Scotland, we've got a little blue dot, which is our regional base. And that's where I'm based from, which is nowhere near a lifeboat station, but it's close enough to everywhere that we can just travel quite quickly. Vital part of the RNLI is sort of these areas and these regions that work together as a team to then deliver the life-saving on the coast. And part of that is the regional coast staff. So this is where I come in. So I'm a regional coast staff. And these roles sometimes include our coastal maintenance. So coastal maintenance sort of have better knowledge of how the boat works, and sometimes are the ones to give the stations a hand when the boats are needing help. And if something goes wrong on the coast, we might have extra tools and sort of time to get things fixed. Area life-saving managers, so they're the ones that are out there looking after the station personnel, making sure that stations are running smoothly and up to speed with various items that they require, but the ELMs are sometimes called. Regional engineer, so this is sort of a subject matter expert who will either have the answer or is able to pass it on to someone who's going to give them it pretty quick. And they're in the region, so that allows the stations to know the person they're speaking to. Estates manager, so every lifeboat has a building, be it porta cabins or, as you can see the picture behind, a purpose-built slipway and building that boathouse that the boat stays in. And all this needs to be maintained, and the estates manager does that. Some of the station rules we're talking about. So ALB station, they'll have a coxswain and a mechanic there full-time. The biggest reason for that is that they need to look after the boat and then look after the crew, make sure the crew are always ready to go. That's full-time roles in your local stations. If you have a big boat, like that one there with a wheelhouse, which is pretty much, if you've got windows, you have a full-timer, at least one. Their job is to keep the boat and keep everything ready to go from the station and identify problems and sort of help get them fixed as soon as possible. But ILB stations have sort of a couple roles in the station that require sort of, it's called a retainer, but the station sort of ILB mechanic and launch and rescue, launch and recovery equipment maintainer. Those two roles have a retainer, which is a small amount of money, which makes sure that they sort of come in and keep an eye on the kit, but they're not full time. They do that on top of their day job as well. But together we are one crew. The lifeboats use this one crew label a lot, because earlier on we were speaking about the volunteer roles. We've got our fundraisers, our crew, and our show crew. But also we have our families behind that. The families let everything happen. And we're not all paid, or we're not all like sort of there for money. We're all here for different reasons. But the one crew part is a major thing. So you should feel like in the Sea Cadets, in your units, you're part of a family. Well, it's the same with the lifeboats. So my journey so far has been quite interesting. So I was at school until 2012. So I was all right at school. I wasn't exactly the smartest, but not exactly the not so smartest. That'll do it. But in school, I stayed till the end of school. So in Scotland, it's called 6th year. I went to college for about 2 weeks and realised that I was done with education. So I sort of was in the cadets at the time. So in 2004, I joined as a junior, as already said. But I did marine engineering, and I love marine engineering. And I sort of put marine engineering and some of my qualifications into getting an apprenticeship. I did an apprenticeship with National Express, the bus company, and worked on buses. Got my, it's called your papers. So I got my papers after sort of 6 years, and then turns out I didn't like buses much. So I put my marine engineering and my bus apprenticeship together and started working for the lifeboats in 2018. And it's been a good career. I love it, enjoy it, get to see lots of the world of lifeboats and lots of Scotland, and sometimes often help out over in Ireland and go down south a lot to pool for training. And that's all because of this journey. It's a very simple journey that I took. But marine engineering in the Sea Cadets is a great insight. Getting onto the offshore fleet, going offshore, seeing the boats do the kit, getting into the engine rooms and things like that is a fantastic insight into sort of a marine engineer sort of job. But if you're not that clued up or wanting to go to college, an apprenticeship in marine engineering or an apprenticeship in any sort of engineering, be it PSV, HGV, or car mechanics is a fantastic sort of journey towards to get to where you want to. So where do you look for jobs in the RNLI? So the RNLI is quite simple. We've got a website. The website's there at the bottom. And if you just type jobs RNLI onto the Google, you'll find the website. Not often jobs come up, but they're advertised quite well. So if you ever see apprenticeships in the RNLI, they'll be based in Poole, and that's sort of where the epicenter for the RNLI is. Local stations. If you have a local station, the job won't be on that website. If you're local to a lifeboat station, go in and have a chat with the full-time coxswain or mechanic and have a chat and see what there is to do. There might be not anything just now if you're under 18, but once you turn 18, there might be an opportunity for you. If not, get part of the fundraising team and help get a little bits of money. A good way of getting in here is to do your Duke of Edinburgh and your volunteering part as helping out the RNLI. That's how I did it and got my bronze. It was fantastic because a lot of the work was already done for you, and you're just simply just going out and selling things like your bridge magnets and hats and things like that. But it's good fun. It's a vital part of the RNLI that keeps it going. Two more slides now, and then we'll get on to questions. This one here is just to say thank you, because I'm sure at some point in your journey as Sea Cadets, you've been with the RNLI and helped us do things at open days or anything like that. So I just want to say a quick thank you.
I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that people give of their spare money to put us out there in the best kit we can possibly be in. Yeah, it beggars belief.
I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
It beggars belief.
It's quite reassuring to think that there are still a lot of good people out there willing to donate money and fundraise for the RNLI to help us do what we do.
See, it is really nice when people do help us, help other people. Like at the end of the day, that's what they're doing. Everyone that donates is helping us help someone else.
I mean, the help we get from the public is amazing. A lot of people say to me, I can't believe it's all on charitable donations. And I sometimes feel bad because there's, Facebook posts of the fact that we've gone out and saved this person. And I have to remind people and remind myself that actually I'm out there in good kit because of the fundraisers.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, any questions? Chuck them into the Q&A. We'll give you a couple of minutes, and then we'll see what we have. See, there's one already.
You want to answer that now, Michael, or
I've not done this, but so have you been on saving lives?
I can read them out to you. It's fine.
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
George has asked, "Have you been on life-saving lives on the TV program? So, are you famous
TV
yet?"
program? No, I'm not, unfortunately. I have been interviewed for it, but I didn't get on. Turns out, sometimes the truth is not good for the TV. It wasn't a good shout, unfortunately. But the Saving Lives at Sea is a fantastic TV program. If you've ever seen it, if you've not seen it, have a look. I think it's every Thursday just now, but it is a really good TV program. If you've enjoyed the videos and things like that, it's a bit of drama on the sea.
Absolutely. So there's a couple of questions surrounding pay. Obviously, that's quite an important thing for people these days. What generally is the pay like? Is it competitive?
So it's a charity you're working for if you get there, and it's, as a charity, they have to be both paying enough to bring in the right people, but not too much that it overshadows and moves away from the charitable efforts. So it is fair. I would say fair is a good sort of word for pay in the RNLI. I've been here for 6 years, and it's been very fair to me. And as I've got better, the pay's got better. So it's with everything, stick at it and you'll get what you want.
I see. So it's a rewarding career from the start. So what's the best way in to start? I know you mentioned popping down to to your local station, but and looking on obviously the website for jobs. But is there sort of a tactic like sort of getting involved in an apprenticeship or volunteering? Is that the best way in?
So I think what helped me a lot was if I wanted to do engineering, I already had done it in the Sea Cadets. If you want to be a coxswain, you are already doing powerboating and things in the Sea Cadet. The things you do already will already help you with the skills to be a valuable asset on the boat. And that's it. It's with anything in life, just make yourself a valuable asset. Don't ask what makes me look good. Just make yourself look good and do what you can. Do the vital things like getting your boat handling and things, but also your navigation and your skills like that, because that's always extra tips to the post.
obviously I'm going to be quite biased and say come and do an offshore crew voyage as well, because being part of the team and knowing how to communicate and how actually to be on board a vessel is probably quite important as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So, so in regards to becoming a coxswain, because obviously that's seems to be one of the popular jobs. Is there a straight way in after training, or what do you need to do to become a coxswain?
So to become a coxswain, the easiest and I say the most rewarding way is to come in as a crewman at the start and build up your skills, and you may have externally recognised qualifications like the RWA and things like that, but the RNLI is a very strict sort of training basis, and we've got competence-based training, and as you do it in the lifeboat and show that you're competent, you get signed off. So you could have all the tickets under the sun, but until you show you can do it, you'll get ticked off. And if you're moving fast and ticking things off fast, you'll get through it. So sometimes, especially with joining your local station, sometimes it's good to wait until you know your right time. But the coxswain role is an amazing role. It's one that I've not reached yet, but I want to reach, and that's taken me 5 years. But the job would be even harder to go for. But if you were to go for it and show that you're willing and able, then crack on.
So what age do you have to be a coxswain then? Is there an age restriction, or is it just down to experience and having qualifications?
That competency-based training, that's all it is. To be a coxswain at a lifeboat station, you don't actually need any qualifications. You need to just complete the training, tick the boxes, and it's a lot of training. It's 2 or 3 years worth. So if you join at 18 years old as a crewman, you won't, unless like if you're smashing out the training, it's unlikely, but you could be a coxswain by early 20s, well up to 25.
Yeah. That sounds great. So basically,
I need to go.
You need to go. I was on a shout. No worries. Well,
Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Carry on. You see it live in action there. Michael is on his way to a shout for an RNLI. So in answer to your question, Florence, how often do you get a shout? Well, it can happen at any time, and you can get out there. So obviously, most of the questions that come in would probably be geared towards Michael, and I probably being the offshore commander can't really answer directly about the RNLI. But I certainly like to say that so long as you're getting the skills offshore, getting the skills in the boat stations and doing what you do as sea cadets, you're going to have fantastic opportunities for joining organisations such as the RNLI. I think apprenticeship schemes are key these days for young people with regards to getting yourselves into employment. So look out for those. Remember, the MSCC as an overarching charity do offer apprenticeships, so keep an eye out for those, and they coming up, and perhaps approach somebody regarding that as well. If you know somebody that perhaps would be interested, then get them to find out about the apprenticeship schemes. Generally speaking, the RNLI apprenticeship sort of runs for a few years. You can get involved in that, and obviously it's all about getting skills to obtain the job. Have you? So there's a question about have the police ever worked alongside you? Yes, I think the police do regularly get involved with regards to shouts and advice, and also on the rescue side of things as well. I know certainly the TS Royalist has been involved in a couple of exercises with the RNLI and the police involved in that as well. So that's very, very important. And I think making sure just on that note, if you're on a boat club or boat station or on the rib, and there's the opportunity to be involved in the practice sessions on RNLI, that's also a fantastic thing to be involved in as well. I think we've covered the questions about the routes in, but there's quite a few of those coming in at the moment. But just want to say, obviously Michael's not here, but I just want to say thank you very much to Michael for giving his time up this evening to talk to us. I hope you all found that an enjoyable experience, and certainly a very informative talk there. In summary, I think, you know, if you did work for an organisation like the RNLI, it'd be exceedingly rewarding. At the end of the day, you're delivering real benefit to real people, and knowing that you save lives or been involved in the saving of lives is obviously an amazing career and a very rewarding job to have. So, well, basically, for all of you attending this, I don't think Michael is coming back, but for all of you attending this seminar, thank you very much for giving up your time to listen. Please carry on forwarding questions into the question and answer, because what we'll do is we get Michael to answer those, and they will be forwarded to the participants, I believe. But also, you know, you can have the opportunity to listen to this webinar again, and we will read out some further questions, and you'll get the question and answers page. So if there are no further questions, I'm going to sign off and basically send a thing. I'm just going to check the chat to see if there's anything else. Just basically thank yous coming in, yeah, thank you for attending. And you know, please listen out to further webinars coming up. Some really good ones. The RN are doing some for us, especially the submarine one looks very interesting in about 3 weeks' time. And please keep supporting these webinars, and look forward to seeing you again online. Thank you very much.